What's up, women of Exodus? I'm your girl Kid,
And I'm Fox.
and welcome to the Beauty from Ashes podcast, where we take you on a personal and professional journey behind the ugly behind beauty. So, today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into our topic from episode 1, which was beautiful enough. We are going to dive in today with beauty comparisons. So, beauty comparisons. Why do we do it, ladies? What is it with us in comparing ourselves to the woman next to us or to things we see? Is it a personality thing? Is it just a cultural thing? We want to get down deep to it and just find out how can we tweak our mindset slightly to really focus on us and less on others. So, Fox, what are your thoughts on that?
So, we do have a phrase for this particular episode. It is that comparison is the thief of joy. And
Mm.
when we think about
Mhm.
it in terms of beauty, some things that come to mind for me is insecurity and how it shows up as toxicity. So, for example, um, you know, I read this years ago in a magazine, and it really made me think about it. You and me, we going out, and I'm like, "Kid, what you wearing?" And you were like, "Oh, I'm wearing this, I'm wearing that," and then I'm like, "Oh." So either now I have a personal insecurity. Remember, this is how I feel about this term, this phrase when it relates to beauty. I have an insecurity. I either need to be where you are, but no, if I have this insecurity, nothing I put on is gonna make me feel as good as I feel you look. I have to be confident in myself.
I'm laughing because I actually, my girlfriends and I, when we were in high school, we used to do that. Call each other, "What you wearing tonight? What you wearing?" Oh, I think I'm gonna wear. Okay, well, I'm gonna wear this as well too. That kind of thing.
So,
I
but I
get
think
it.
it shows up and when it comes to comparison, because yes, as girlfriends, when we have a theme, when we're going out, we want to be fly. But here's how it gets toxic: when it's like, "Oh, well, she gonna wear that. Well, she can't look better than me." But why are you not just securing yours, sis? Like, and so that comparison is like
Damn teenagers.
poison. Right. And so it's like poison. It's constantly eating at you, constantly making you feel like you're in competition with someone. And really, you're just making up all of this on your own. And it really stems from insecurity, an insecurity of you not feeling beautiful enough, you not feeling valuable enough, you feeling like you have to copy someone else's style when you were created individually. So when I think about, thief being the comparison of joy, and I'm sorry, comparison being the thief of joy,
Yeah.
and thinking about, this topic again of beautiful enough, I think that this really penetrates deeply into how this shows up in the world and all the things that contribute to that. And maybe you can tap more into that about, the ideas of beauty. Like, where does this come from that, that feeds that insecurity and makes us behave in these toxic ways where we don't celebrate our sisters, but we want to compete with them?
If I'm thinking about it, and it all goes back to what we talked about in the first episode about acceptance, making sure that the people that we hold to a certain esteem in our own eyes see us a certain way, or attention. Um, I when I think about that, I think about the a line from Fab where he talks about money ain't the root of all evil. Now attention is, and I think it also plays a part too with the world we live in now. We talked heavily about social media and how social media it's a huge part of the culture right now. So everything is on display for us 24/7. So I think sometimes if we don't guard our minds enough with certain things, scrolling through Instagram, watching things on TikTok, and engaging in all of this conversation from from Twitter. Now, don't get me wrong, love social media. I wish part of me wishes that we had stuff like this, when I was in, a little bit of my younger days, but the 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 side of me that was, doing my dirt is glad that it wasn't.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And we gonna get into that in future episodes.
Right. I'm like,
That's gonna be a
ooh,
fact.
thank God nobody was hitting the record button that time. But anyway, I digress. So like I think a lot of that is oppressed upon that, depending on who you hang around, the people, your environment, media is a big perpetuator of, how we see ourselves. So, how we wear our hair, when we talk about like texture of hair, it was a big thing for everybody to have long straight hair, right? So now, we're in this whole movement of natural hair and accepting our curls and our coils and our kinks, which I'm here for it, by the way. But the old me was probably like, not so much. I need a relaxer. I need to straighten my hair. These edges, they not laying as flat as I want them to be. So I think the trouble with insecurity, because it does play a part in the beauty comparison part. So I think insecurity due to social comparisons, we're so busy focusing on everybody's highlight reel as opposed to what's going on in real life, right? So I know you, like when and I think about, like you and how active you are in the social media world, like, engaging and keeping your audience engaged on, from your personal perspective and your own personal journey. So what the media perpetuates, what are your thoughts on, how, working in that world and in that space?
So it's interesting because I've learned, especially being more saturated in this space, that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of women share the same insecurities. I think that that's natural. I think it's okay to kind of just, be like, oh, well, that's, that person's beautiful. But I think that again, where it becomes like kind of toxic is comparing yourself, feeling like you have to one up, stealing content. I've seen that a lot.
Mm,
Yeah, that's something that happens, especially for a lot of Black influencers. They are disenfranchised when it comes to other people who have larger platforms or who have a certain aesthetic look, because that we talked about that too, but they're still
right.
pressing forward with their platform. And then because they have a smaller platform, or depending on how they look, you know, their work that they work hard on is not necessarily pushed as much, or as liked as we feel. So social media definitely has a lot of bearing, and I think that when I think about the development of insecurities, I think about it from childhood. So now, like you said, everything is on display, everything is on a highlight reel, and even a lot of people's children. And it's not to say that we don't want to dress up our children, we don't want to, enjoy our children, but I think about how, yes, like when we were growing up, we wanted to be presented a certain way. But now it's like we're putting our children on a platform, and what is it doing to them? Because now I put my kid on this platform, they ain't get 50 million likes. I got to do this to get them. What about and that's where I feel like
And
these
this is
insecurities
work.
develop.
This is work. So the work that has to go into maintaining a certain image, maintaining a certain status or the appearance of that status, you know, um, out into the world, that's pressure. That's pressure. That's pressure that we put on ourselves. It's pressure that we take on, seeing, what's going on in other people's lives. I think about reality shows, how like and how much they have, you know, influenced of what that everyday looks like for people and that whole engagement. So, and now knowing what we know now, like reality shows, is some of it real? Maybe. Is most of it, scripted? And absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I think about even like, just from like, just you talked about like body types and, things of that nature. So I think about things like the whole fat shaming, like I can't even remember when I've seen this many full figure women just out doing their thing, modeling, intimate wear and bathing suits, or, showing midriff. Like, that wasn't even an acceptable thing. Somebody would be quick to call you out, oh, you got your stomach hanging out, or you got this, or your butt cheeks hanging out. But now it's like a thing, right?
Mhm.
and the whole glam, all being glam 24/7. I see everybody walking around full face makeup, contoured to the gods, and I'm like, man, that's how you woke up, sis. I'm rolling over and making sure that my face is clean, and I got, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I feel like we know how to, we know how to get it done with the best of them, but at the end of the day, like, that's you all day? This how you walk around?
And it's not, it definitely, I feel like it removes you from reality, so
Mm,
like you said, reality shows, we know that they're scripted, we know that you don't look like this 100% of the time. When I'm getting in the
right.
pool, my face isn't beat. When I'm getting in the pool, I'm getting in the pool to get in the pool. I'm not beat to the guys. I'm getting my hair wet, or I'm taking my wig off, I'm taking my head, like I'm doing everything just so I can enjoy the moment. I'm not so concerned with, looking perfect and being on 24/7. I think that that's also something that's extremely toxic when it comes to like how the culture portrays beauty
Mhm.
and what that looks like, and what actionable steps need to be taken. And again, it kind of removes us from the character aspect of it and makes us really just think about the physical. And so when we
Right.
learn about, even in reality shows, or when we look at these celebrity relationships, and we learn about like, oh wow, it's kind of dysfunctional. Yeah, because it was just made
My
to
favorite is
look.
relationship goals.
No such thing. Have a goal with yourself. Like, work on you, have something to do with you. And so, again, I think you really nailed it on the head when we talked about how the culture impacts. And this day and age is definitely social media. We're completely saturated with it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna front. When I wake up, instead of, I mean, I do say thank you, God. I woke up and I move around. But the first thing I do is look
Right.
at my
Don't forget
phone.
that part.
Right, like I've learned to put, really incorporate that, because I do have a prayer space. However, I've learned to just, even as soon as I got out the bed, God, thank you, as soon as I open my eyes, and then I'm on my phone as I'm walking to my prayer space and making my coffee. And it's just like, constantly scrolling. And like you said, you look at how other people are living allegedly, and instead of just enjoying what you have, how you were created, what's going on with you right now. So I I don't know. I find it to be a struggle. Again, I don't think that insecurity is such a dirty word. I think that everyone experiences that from time to
Oh, we
time.
all have it.
Yeah, I
We
don't
have
think that I think that where it becomes problematic is when it becomes toxic, when it's, I need to step on you, or I need to give you a backhanded compliment, or I need to, you can't outshine me. We all shining. Why can't we all celebrate each other? So, I think, it's just about having a constant mindfulness, a constant awareness of, okay, I can think something's beautiful and appreciate someone without devaluing how God made me, or what I'm doing to
absolutely.
make me feel good.
Absolutely. Just because somebody else shows up and shows out doesn't take away from you as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have days when we're really on. You might be having a good hair day. You might put on an outfit and feel like, man, I'm really looking cute today. Be all right with that, right? Like it really pains me sometimes, to see how just the thought of I see a lot of young women, doing things and to make themselves look a certain way, or younger girls, sometimes I feel like the amounts of makeup, the clothing choices, all of those things. Now here's the thing, I don't want this to get into a situation where it feels like I'm judging anybody, because I'm not. But what I'm saying is that the part where we start to embrace who we are, love who we are. It's okay to celebrate the woman next to you, but don't forget you're wonderful too. Don't forget you're beautiful too. Don't forget, all of the things that you have as an individual that make you you. Because I think also too, like, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, I think it's so whack to see people just all this cookie cutter. Like I even think about, from style to body shapes. I feel like everybody has a Coca-Cola bottle body now. You know what I'm saying? Like the things with, the people are doing to alter their appearances. So we see the breast implants, everybody's, waist training, and everybody's trying to get, all the curves. And here's another thing that I take away from this. It's so funny to me how when we talked about, the standards of beauty and how they were imposed upon us, and we talked about the standard of beauty mostly coming from, a European type influence, or on beauty. And all the things that I feel like women of color possess, our body shapes, all of that. It's so interesting to me now that everybody wants that. It wasn't cool to have thick thighs. It wasn't cool to have a big butt. It wasn't cool to have, big breasts, all of those things. And I'm not saying that that's something, that those are traits that we solely possess as women of color, but what I am saying is it's not something that was sought after. It wasn't what was being looked for when it comes to beauty. But now, I mean, I see girls that go from looking like, super, slim Jim, to like, whoa, like
Out of
busting
nowhere.
out like, hey, sis, where'd you get those? Or where did that come from? Like those little legs carrying all of that back there. Okay. That kind of,
That, but
that
it's
kind
so
of
true.
situation.
And so I think that what you brought up is so important too. It brings up an interesting dynamic, because yes, the things that were not considered attractive, like you said, thick thighs, big butt, big lips,
Mm-hmm.
and just being full of figured, period. Now that style, that physique is being emulated through surgery options. And listen, whatever you need to do to make you feel good. Again, we are not judging on
Oh,
this
for sure.
platform, just to
For
be
sure.
extremely clear, because everyone does see, like, what you're doing to make yourself feel good is different. We're talking about when you do it in comparison, when you do it to be like someone else, versus I'm just getting my breast augmented because it will make me feel better. Not
Absolutely.
necessarily am I getting my breast augmented because this person's breast is augmented and I want to be like this person. We want to make sure, just to be very clear about how we're presenting this thing. But what I think is toxic again is we already have this shape and now we're exaggerating this shape. So we have other women
Right.
emulating this shape and we're going back and enhancing it even more. And like you said,
Like,
it's
no, bigger. Go
right.
bigger.
And the toxicity also comes, people are dying trying to fulfill this outrageous, unnatural beauty standard,
Unrealistic.
unrealistic beauty standard. And it's just like, is it worth it? If you really think about it, is it worth it? So I think that, drawing back and just being like, okay, I've realized that, I have this insecurity about whatever, but again, finding like, well, what is it that I love about myself, or what is it that I like, and then doing it for self, not in comparison. Doing it
Right.
for self is like
Right.
the biggest thing, because again, where does it leave you? You're going to constantly be comparing, and you'll constantly be trying to achieve something that you already have. You're already beautiful.
I think that is a huge part of when we talk about beauty comparisons, the things that we do, um, the choices that we make, who we're making them for.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that is going to truly make me feel good, or am I doing this to attract a certain kind of attention, or to impress somebody else, or like you said, one up somebody else, in terms of how I do me. But in the grand scheme of things, you're doing all these other things for somebody else. You're not really doing you. You doing it, you doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for the gram. You're doing it for, everybody but you, right? So, because I agree with you. I don't see anything wrong with, things like fillers, all of those things that people feel are going to make them feel good about themselves, to, whether it's to maintain a certain aesthetic, or to just to hold on to some of those youthful moments for most of us. It's okay. I just, for me, I think it's all things in moderation. um I think also too, when you get into situations like that, knowing who you are when you're doing it. Because I know for even people that are going through, and it's not just about like body augmentation. I even think about, people that are going through or having battles with weight as well too, or weight loss, when you're having, different things done, or, it's a, they actually recommend that you have some type of therapy to go along with it, because the you that you're used to, you're no longer going to be that person, whether it's losing weight, whether it's, having all, breast augmentations, or, injections, whatever it is, surgery wise, to, change how you look physically, that some type of therapy be attached to that, just to help you deal with the mental changes of what the effects are going to be on you, both mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So, um, how do we overcome the mindset of beauty comparisons? Do we overcome the mindsets of beauty comparison? Is that
Good Lord.
possible?
Yes, it is. Because I like we talked about in our previous episode, and I believe I mentioned, it was never so much that I wanted to be like somebody else. I just didn't want to be ugly.
Mm,
And it wasn't that I wanted to be light skinned. It wasn't that I just didn't want to be ugly. And I had to learn to just accept myself. Now, it's such a fine line sometimes when we have this conversation, because somebody could be like, well, if you accept yourself, why you wear makeup, or why you wear, added hair, or why? Because
right.
it's about expression. Because there are plenty now, and this is being extremely vulnerable because we're in a safe space. There are
Sure.
times when I'm home and I feel 100, I feel 1,000%, because I'm just like, wow, I could see myself, not just my physical self, but again, we talked about virtues and attributes within oneself. And then I go outside and somebody says something to me that's backhanded or slight, and it's just like, ooh, well, I thought I was beautiful until I heard that, and now it's that's where
Snatched
the
your whole soul
insecurity,
from you, right?
like, legit. And you were like, well, wait, like, what even made you say that? Why would you say that? So I think that definitely you could overcome. I really, like, I'm so thankful that my mom really kind of honed this into me. She was like, you need to find something that you love about yourself. I don't care what it is. You need to find at least one thing. When I focused on that, because again, we do want to, the aesthetic part, we do really want to make sure that we're just feeling good about how we are aesthetically as well. And so focusing on those things is what really helped me to overcome that. And then, you know, my faith, reading and understanding that God made us all beautiful and unique. And the only thing that's really ugly is an attitude. For real, because,
Whew.
there's a separation, between, like, what's physical and what you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, I can't like call somebody ugly. I think that saying that is ugly. You get what, like, do you follow what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. Just the word in general. I think it always makes me think of, you have your parents in your mind. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, when it comes to that. But I think, again, social media has created such, internet cowboys and girls, when it comes to weighing in on everything that everyone is doing, from, what you're accomplishing, what you're not accomplishing, or to even what you look like. So it feels like that every time you put yourself out there, and, whether it be through a picture, a story, a reel, whatever, it's all about, it's out there. It's almost like it's people assume you're putting it out there to be scrutinized. Like, okay, I'm putting this out there. Give me your feedback. No, sis, I don't want your feedback. I put it out there because this is something I wanted to see. This is something that I wanted to share. Is it open for interpretation? Okay, that's cool. But thank God that there's a button that we could turn them comments off sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want your feedback all the time. One of my favorite influencers, Jackie Aina, like, love her because she's so gangster about it. You know, I think people weigh in on the things that she does on her channel, and some of the, on some of the, fashion choices, makeup choices, things that she does. And it's just almost like, oh, well, sis, did you know, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, your skin looks like this today. And, or she didn't ask you.
She
She didn't
then I
ask
remember
you.
she was
And I
like,
love when she gets on there and tells them, like, thank you, but I didn't ask you.
right.
Thank you. I
Yes.
know what I look like. Thank you. I know what my skin is going through today. Thank you. Thank you
I
for
know
pointing that
exactly
out.
what
But
you're
no,
coming
thank
out
you.
to.
Like, mind
Yes.
your business. Like, everything is not up for discussion all the time. Like, that wears me out, sometimes. Just, ugh.
So when we
Everybody
talk
has an
about
opinion on everything.
putting things out there and just again like mindset, how we overcome, the insecurity that can turn into toxicity, or even just being toxic to ourselves, always scrutinizing ourselves and not even being aware of our own beauty because we're constantly
Man.
just, so what are some things that you have in place to overcome maybe being like bullied when you were younger for your complexion, for how you look, or for the gap in your teeth, like whatever it is that you've experienced, like how have you been able to kind of put some tools in place so that you could overcome that and be like, nah, I'm bad. Kid is bad. So
Facts. Real talk. It was not easy. Um, one of my girlfriends, she tells me all the time, like, Dada, I don't think you understand, how people see you, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. But on the flip side, while you hear it, from my friends, my family, it was something in me that still didn't see it. And it took such a long time to get to that point, unfortunately, which is one of the motivating reasons behind why, you and I are doing this, because hopefully I don't want another young woman to have to, wait so long to discover her, to wait so long to see her the way that, God sees you, because I didn't see it, Fox. My self-talk was nothing like it is now. Like, I think I could, really kick my own ass better than anybody ever could. You know, uh, I just think back to, my younger self. It was almost a burden, to be, or, considered pretty or look a certain way, like, because you got the people who are jealous, you got the people who love on you and celebrate that about you, but then it's also the opinions that you valued at the time, right?
mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily about what I thought. And, like, so for me now, the way that I speak to myself now, like, I encourage myself. The thoughts that I have in my head that go on daily is like, okay, Kadada, you got this. You can handle this. There's nothing that's being thrown at you that you can't handle. Or when I look in the mirror and I see, like, man, my skin looks good today, or I'm having a great hair day, you know, I also find myself, as I've evolved into the woman that I am now, even my own makeup routines have changed tremendously. I feel like the older that I get, the less and less that I, more less makeup that I wear, and more skincare I get into, because I don't have a problem being naked anymore. And when I say naked, I mean I don't have a problem like being without the makeup the way that I used to. Um, I still love my, my hair extensions, my weaves, all of those good things, but I don't have a problem wearing my natural texture anymore. I'm okay with that. Look, I would never be caught dead, running out to the store to do all of those things the way that I do now, but I'm okay with me now because I've learned to love things. Like you said, I've learned to look at myself and love things about me. I think my eyes are beautiful. I love my skin. You know, my gap, it was something I got teased about often as a young girl, but now I embrace it because I can't even imagine me without it anymore. So I was look, and it made me think about, because girl, just recently, with the whole Michael Strahan, where he played the April Fool's joke of getting his closed up. Fox, that hurt my heart. I ain't gonna front, because when I saw that, I was like, no, he didn't. But to know that, I was just like, okay, so, but yeah, those are things that I love about me now, because those are the things that make kid kid.
Right. Absolutely. And I just couldn't agree with you anymore. I think for me too, for personal experiences overcoming different diseases, overcoming cancer and an autoimmune disease, not
Mm-hmm.
having the energy to invest in how I looked physically. There are times even now
Right.
that I don't have the energy, but I had better appreciate and love myself. I had better know that I'm beautiful. And so I've learned that whether I'm, you know, glamming it up because I want to, because again, this is about self. It's not about
Right.
me impressing anybody else. So even, sometimes a backhanded compliment could be like, why the hell you say that? But at the same time, it doesn't it doesn't really shake me too much either, because I'm just like, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
that's your issue. That's you. That don't got nothing to do with me. Something about me stirred something up in you, and you mad, and I'm gonna let you hold that. That's me as an adult. That's, adult Fox. um
Taking other people's issues. Yep.
right, for what? And so but that definitely for me, what's helped also me to realize, just, I'm naturally beautiful. Whether I'm able to do it up or not is just going through these experiences, and being forced to love myself, to see myself truly without
Yep.
all the extras, so I can be comfortable and be like, no, I ain't got no makeup on today. I mean, I probably should put some chapstick on so my lips ain't gray, but I ain't got no makeup on today, and I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm good with just having a head wrap on. I'm good with just cutting my hair just because, and then putting a wig on the next day, because again, it's about me. It's about how I make me feel, how I'm investing in me.
Yep.
So I
Yep. I
100%
agree
agree
with
with
that.
you.
And I think also too, when it comes to the mindset behind, beauty and comparing yourself to others, you got to know your triggers too, because I feel like there are things in places and people that make us feel a certain way. Um, so thinking about, when do I feel like this the most? Who am I with when I feel like this? Because people can bring certain things out of you, the environments that you're in. I mean, it totally changes your perspective on, yourself and how you see yourself, depending on who you surround yourself with. Who are you spending your time with? Association definitely brings on assimilation.
Mhm.
So if you're surrounding with yourself with people with low self-esteem, if you're surrounding yourself with people who feel like they always have to be in in constant drama, or turmoil, on the inside, because some people don't, like, let's be real, some people are committed to the story that they tell themselves about themselves, right?
Mhm.
No matter how much you try to encourage somebody, some people are committed to just being woe is me, to just being the wounded girlfriend or friend, whatever the situation is, and they love to live in that space. And that's okay. If that's what you want to do, fine, so be it. But here's what I need to do for me. I'm going to have to fall back a little bit, let you figure that out for yourself, because I can't help you with that. No matter how I see you, no matter how wonderful I think you are, or no matter how beautiful I think you are, until you're able to see that for yourself, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. And, we don't want to drain ourselves by trying to rescue these people who refuse to see themselves in a different light, or who refuse to, encourage or help themselves. And I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, going through these different experiences. Now, I have safe spaces too that I talk to with other people who are overcoming their similar diseases and
Hmm.
battles. And it's very true. You sometimes you do have to create that space where you're able to heal yourself, where you're able to work with yourself, so you're not the draining person, or so that you're not how do I say, like, so that you don't feel misunderstood. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like accountability on both sides. It's, okay, I realize that you got a lot of going on and there's no love lost, but I need to distance myself so that I can remain good. And then for the person who has things that are going on, okay, I don't want to be this person who is, kind of heavy. Let me just kind of, you know, and have time for some introspection for a little bit so I can get some things together, because yes, that'll definitely fortify how you see yourself, and especially as it relates to beauty, being beautiful enough. I am enough. Beautiful enough is really I am enough.
Yes,
Period.
I think we need to say that for the entire audience. So let's just look into the camera and just say that for every woman that is watching, everyone that is watching together. I
I
am,
am enough.
I am enough. Period. Period. And if you have to put it on repeat, record yourself saying it on a daily basis. Do whatever it needs to be done, sis, to make you feel better about you as an individual, not worrying about what you look like in comparison to the person next to you, or who you are, or what you have or haven't accomplished in comparison to the person next to you. Everybody is right where they're supposed to be on their journey. And it took me a long time to even wrap my mind around that, like, dang, I'm not doing enough. I got to step my game up. I got to, just when I see other things or other people have, and that's just, that's just human nature. It really is, to be, like it, but it's one thing to, try to, keep yourself on a level playing field with other people versus admiring or being inspired by those people.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
I just can't. I think about um tons of women that that inspire me daily, and I have to think about, not necessarily I have to take that inspiration and use it as fuel for myself to be able to move forward on my own path, because you don't know what the person next to you has traded to get where they are right now, to be, be who they are, all of those things. Nobody, you don't know what the story was. You don't know the trials, the tribulations that one person had to go through for them to get to a certain space. Your journey is not their journey. It's just not. So,
And I know, like, I love, first of all, what you're sharing. Okay, because it's very true. You don't know what it took to get there. And
yeah.
just really focusing on where you are where you are at the right time. Everything is appointed, and it's the way it should be. And there's a difference between being inspired and admiring versus being envious and jealous. And, figuring out what's your motivation. Are you like, hey, you know what, this person is eating right, they exercising, I'm inspired to make some changes in my routine so that I could be better? Or is it like, oh, she doing this, she ain't all that, or she doing that, I'm gonna do it better? Find out what's your motivation,
Woo.
because again, this is all relating to comparison. Your motivation should just really be you wanting to be your best self at all times. That's your competition right there in the mirror. It's you.
Yeah. Always. We're always our own competition. So I encourage everybody to just kind of like dig deep, like I said, finding out what your own triggers are and being self aware, because there's a lot of times we don't even take ownership for the things that we're feeling, or our reasoning in thinking that the way that we do. We think we can easily blame it on somebody else. We can easily blame it on upbringing, environment, all of that good stuff, but don't get stuck there. Just find a way out, because that is you committing to being a victim of your own thoughts, your own mentality. At some point you're gonna have to, get to a space where you are going to have to let go of those things and be responsible for your own healing. That's just how I feel about the situation. Um, but I can go on and on for days about this, so I feel like I still, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, because I would love to hear from our audience. Talk to Fox and I and tell us, what is your self-talk like? How do you speak to yourself? How do you describe yourself, and do you believe it? When you talk to yourself, if you're encouraging yourself, or do you believe, the negative parts where other people, speak into your life, or, convey or put their negative self views onto you, because that can be a thing too. People love to, reflect onto others, what they don't want to deal with or what they don't want to acknowledge. So I think that plays a big part in how we view ourselves. So talk to us, women of Exodus. What are some of the things that you struggle with?
Yes. So, again, to tie back, comparison is definitely the thief of joy. And so make sure that you are introspective, make sure that you are grateful. Also understand, this is going to be our beauty secret for today. It's going to take time. Just like you practice putting on your eyebrows, and you are not doing your eyebrows the same way you were doing them back in 2001. It is going to take time with that self-talk to really accept it, but you have to start. And so that is today, that is our beauty secret for today, is to be graceful with yourself and have gratitude so that you can really build yourself up to a place where you're no longer comparing and it showing up in your life in a toxic way, whether that's self-inflicting or whether you're inflicting that harm on others, even just energetically or through your thoughts. So sound off. You can comment, please like, subscribe, share, and we look forward to talking to you. We'll be here every other Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we love you, Women of Exodus. Peace.